Let's look at how to make a laser cut bowl with Inkscape. So first I'm going to open Inkscape. And for this project, I'm going to set the document to, we're going to make a 6x6 laser cut bowl. So first I'm going to set the document properties. So I'm going to set the units to inches. The width is 6 and the height is 6. And then I don't want to show the border. And I want to have a light border, and I want the guides to be light as well. And this is because these are going to serve as guidelines to show us generally the size, but we don't need to be strict to them. So we don't want them to be too intrusive. Okay, now I'm going to draw in some guidelines. I'm going to put some in at 2 inches all the way around. And it should try to make it accurate, but it doesn't need to be perfect because this is going to just serve as some guidance for you. Okay, so on the inside you have a 2 inch by 2 inch square. So my experimentation has shown that that having these dimensions roughly 6 inches out on the outside and roughly 2 inches on the inside is a good dimension to have some to have some slope to the bowl and also have it be stable. So if it gets much smaller than that, the bowl becomes kind of tippy. So the next step is we're going to draw. We're going to draw an outer line and an inner line. I can okay, and let's draw an inner line now. Okay, so one thing that's happening is it's snapping to these guidelines, which I don't want it to do. So I'm going to turn off snapping, which is this button on the right. So let's try that again. And I'm going to reduce this in size so it's closer to the 2 by 2 dimensions. I'm going to try these different node modifications. You can make it smoother, symmetrical, or you can use auto smooth. And you might not, you can try them out. You may or may not like it with the auto smooth on. I think that's too much smoothing. I'm going to go with this one, okay? And the next step is to interpolate the line. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so it fits inside my box parameters. Now I'm going to interpolate the line. So I'm going to select both objects. So I'm using the object selection tool. I'm selecting both objects. I can tell that they're both selected because of the outlines around them. Now I'm going to go to Extension, Generate Path, Interpolate. Okay, and I'm going to use exponent value of 0 and 10 steps in between them. Just going to say OK, and then it created these different layers. Now, when I interpolated it, it went a little bit haywire somewhere, and so sometimes you can erase, you can just remove the errant lines. Sometimes you need to manipulate them. We can try also making an intermediary line halfway between. That sometimes that helps and sometimes it doesn't. So what I would do is I would select the first two. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 steps. Okay. Well, I'm going to try reversing the path. Path, reverse. If they're drawn in reverse order, that can mess up the algorithm or cause the algorithm to go haywire. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that worked a lot better. Okay, and now, oh, except I did too many steps. I only want 4, so let's try that again. Okay, good. And now let's do it again. So what I'm going to I wasn't sure which line I had selected, so I erased it. So I'm getting these 2 lines are way too close together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup these, Control-Shift-G. I'm just going to erase one of these lines. Okay, now let's try interpolating this layer to this layer. I'll just use the same settings as before. Okay, let's try reversing this path. See if that helps. Okay, and that seemed to work pretty well. And it looks like I have, like this layer is still is a little bit too close. It's not quite in between, so I can just adjust it. I'm going to use the object selection. I'm just going to try reducing it in size. There you go. That seems to work all right there. Okay, so and you might see like little idiosyncrasies in your line. Sometimes maybe it's a problem that occurred from your own drawing, or maybe it's a problem that occurred from the algorithm. You can always go back in and adjust, make little adjustments as needed.